Welcome, Future Shapers! You've just tuned in to the nexus of inspiring leaders who share their successes and their failures. Insights that will motivate, educate, and illuminate your path to a very bright future. Welcome to Shaping the Future podcast. Here's your host, Greg Kell.
Hello, this is Greg with Shaping the Future podcast, and today we are going to meet Gearard LeFore, the owner of Farmers Insurance in Redlands, California, off of Orange Tree Lane. Gerard, please introduce yourself.
Well, thank you so much, Greg, and it's an appreciation for you having me here, and thank you so much for inviting me to the program. For all you guys listening out there, my name is Gearard LeFore. I'm the owner of Farmers Insurance of Orange Tree Lane here in Redlands, California. And a little bit about me is I've owned this business since 2014. And actually, I was a farmer's corporate employee for 7 years prior to purchasing this business. So I was somebody who grew up in San Diego. I have a degree in economics from UCLA. I got that in 2006 and my MBA from Florida Tech in 2012. And I'm just really passionate about helping people.
Excellent. Tell the Future Shapers audience. I know that you are passionate about helping people, Gerard, but what are you most passionate about today?
The biggest thing that I'm passionate about today, especially when you take a look at my business and what's happening in the insurance industry, is really the education of people. The biggest thing that I find specifically within my industry is that people aren't educated about their insurance. So they're not necessarily making the best choices for their family, and they're making a lot of choices based on price as opposed to logic. And that's the thing that I'm really passionate about, is just helping people to make sure that their financial future is sound.
We believe in a sound future, including financial, health, and general well-being. Tell me, Gerard, how long ago did you start this business?
So I purchased this business in October 2014 from an agent who was actually in business for over 20 years. So it was a well-established business out there in San Bernardino, right off of Waterman Avenue, actually. Yeah. And when I bought it, the vision that I had in mind was to secure a safer and, I would say, a better location for the office. So I moved it out here to Redlands. So we've been rocking and rolling out here ever since.
We like rocking and rolling here in the Future Shapers universe. However, sometimes we have found that occasionally life will throw us a curveball.
Absolutely.
It doesn't turn out the way that we think it's going to go. Would you share with the Future Shapers audience listening today a short story about your worst experience as the owner of a farmer's insurance agency?
So this is a very really very personal one, Greg, when you ask this, and I would say really the way that 2017 has shaped out was really kind of one of my biggest curveballs for the business. And what I mean by that is from an overall just general perspective, the year didn't shape out the way I wanted to, and the reason why is I actually ended last year with the loss of my father. And after battling a diabetic coma for over a month, he passed away on November the 20th. And it was really one of those things that just took me for a loop. You know, I lost the person who I derived a lot of my strength from. I lost that person who was my spiritual guidance counselor, that person who would teach me the Bible and, teach me how to pray and be that. He was that person who would give you that pat on the back, that person you want to make proud. And, I found myself after his passing during the holidays last year really becoming disengaged in business, in life in general. And I developed severe anxiety and depression throughout that. And that was very crippling to me because it didn't allow me to really run the business the way that I needed to run it as a leader. And so managing life changes, it's something that we probably aren't really thinking about when we're thinking about owning a business. We're thinking about profit and revenue and profit and loss, right? But that impact, that a tragedy in your life or a setback in your life, how that can affect you in the business wise. Because of that, when I developed depression, when I developed anxiety, and this is really hard to talk about because it's really kind of the first time I'm putting it out there for the public. It was one of those things where I was afraid to come out of my house. I was afraid to really face the day-to-days because owning a business is so stressful. So that really event I wasn't proud of the way that my 2017, the final result turned out, but I'm proud of really kind of what I've learned from it and who the person I've become from dealing with that.
So 2017 did not turn out to be the way that you thought it was at the beginning.
Correct.
You lost a fundamental character of your father in your life.
Right.
And you developed anxiety and depression. Things were a challenge. But you overcame these challenges. Tell me, and share with the audience, what lessons did you learn from this event?
Well, the biggest thing that I probably learned was when you're faced with a tragedy, with the setback, as a leader of this business, my own organization, right? You really can't afford to take days off. So you really can't afford to have things take you for that loop. And then when you do have things that take you off course, you got to find a way to row your boat and get you back on try to find your own true north. And dealing with the things that I was dealing with, the only way I was able to come out of that was my faith in God and making sure that on a daily basis I practiced that faith. And then secondly, I learned a long time ago, Greg, that you become who you surround yourself with, right? And so when I looked at my day-to-day interactions, I wasn't surrounding myself with anybody positive because I was alone. So probably the biggest thing that helped me is and you're a part of this as well, Greg, is the BNI group that we go to every Wednesday morning. It was being around business owners who've had more tenure, who've gone through more things that I have gone through, and seeing the way that they've bounced back and hearing the stories of things that they have gone through and how they reacted to that. And somehow I started to find strength in those things. Somehow I started to find strength in knowing that there are people who've gone through these things, there are people who've gone through losses and picked themselves up and didn't let that consume themselves. So I think that's the biggest thing that I learned is you're going to have those setbacks, but you cannot take the time off.
It sounds to me, though, that you are a better man now because of what you have gone through.
I hope to think so.
When you look forward in 2018, right around the corner, what is your most important goal to achieve next year?
Well, I think that's with the way that 2017 ended, and now looking at 2018, a lot of the things that I wanted to do here in 2017, we're now going to go into 2018, and the biggest things for me to focus on is really the vision of my agency and the growth that I want. Is really this year we didn't help enough families with life insurance. So next year my commitment is to help 50 families for life insurance and make sure that they're protected the right way. Next goal within that is to increase my presence within the commercial arena. So making sure that I'm helping out more business clients, because that's what I thrive in, is teaching business owners, teaching people who have assets to protect, how to protect those the right way.
Sounds to me like the drive and motivation to be a form of education is critical to the type of agent that you are.
Yes, absolutely.
When you look forward, what are some of the biggest challenges that you face now that would make it difficult to helping those 50 families next year?
I think the biggest challenge is right now is when you take a look at the insurance industry. Just a lot of things are actually changing. It's a lot harder to get in front of the right people and find the right type of client. So it's about making sure that from a marketing perspective that the business is doing the right things, but also that we're differentiating ourselves and from the things that we do well. And that's helping people, that's protecting people the right way. So the biggest challenge is how do you get in front of those families who are thinking like that,
right? Who
aren't thinking merely of the Geico commercial that just saw in price and saving $15, for 15 minutes of their time. I want to be in front of the people who have the kids who have the things to protect and to teach them how to do so. That's the biggest challenge within the industry because people aren't thinking that way.
So it sounds to me as though your motivation to teach and educate in and of itself will help you to not be commoditized.
Correct.
And that's an important outcome because we don't want to put you into a commodity box.
Right.
Because you are unique.
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent. How will you overcome the challenges that you just faced? Just expressed.
That's a very important thing. And as we look at 2018, I really just think it's about the education on a broader scale, educating the Redlands, the San Bernardino community, who I am, and getting out there and really kind of spreading the message and spreading what we do and what we do well here. I think if you polled my clients, they would tell you that we do a good job in educating them. So it's about getting that message out here in San Bernardino, Redlands, Riverside. Hey, somebody actually does care, and they care about the type of insurance that they're getting out there for you.
Gerard, you care.
I care.
It's very clear to me. Now, and I understand you started in 2014, and before that you worked in corporate, correct?
Correct.
Okay, go back to that time. We're going to go back to that time when you were considering starting. Remember, what was it, how did you make that jump from a corporate employee to a agency owner? What was holding you back at that time?
Well, I think the biggest thing when I made this change to myself, I came into Farmers Insurance always wanting to be a business owner. I actually one of my very first roles here at Farmers Insurance was I was a recruiter. So I recruited new insurance agents and helped them establish their own operations. And naturally, through, I guess, osmosis and talking about the opportunity and coaching your own agents and seeing agents become successful, you naturally become inclined to be inquisitive about what's going on and what you're doing. And I gained a natural interest into either becoming a district manager with Farmers Insurance or an agency owner. And really the big thing for me that kind of hit home is after about 5 years with Farmers, they kind of tap you on the shoulder and they start trying to move you around. So they wanted to send me to Vegas, and then they wanted to send me to San Francisco. And I remember just asking myself, for what? What was I going to be doing this for? And who was I going to be doing it for as well? It seemed more like I was satisfying farmers as I was satisfying my family, because we had to move from our family. We'd have to move from my parents down in San Diego, my wife's family out in Santa Ana. So the biggest thing was understanding what was important to me. That's the biggest thing that held me back, and understanding that I can do anything that I put my mind to. So whether I failed or I succeeded, it was all on me. And so that was the biggest thing is understanding that whenever you're going to take this venture, it was scary leaving the 401k. It was scary leaving the company card and the company American Express and all those benefits and holidays. But at the end of the day, I bet on myself, because you got to have something that you can be proud of. And this is something that future LeFores will now be able to benefit from.
So if you made that leap because you had confidence.
Correct.
Confidence in Farmers Insurance, confidence in your own ability to help people, and a desire to educate them.
Correct.
Tell me about your ideal client. Describe that ideal client to the Future Shapers audience.
So we do a lot of things. We do a lot of things well, but we specifically like to work with families who have children, families who own a home, who have multiple vehicles, who have things that they're really concerned with in making sure that they have the right protection. And so I tell you this is if you're listening to this podcast, just think about, as you back out of your driveway today, look to your driver's seat and your passenger seat actually, and picture everything that you own in that seat, and that you're backing out those driveways. And I'm pretty sure that you've worked a lot harder for those things, and you don't want to lose those. If you're thinking like that, then you're probably my ideal client. You're probably the person that I want to talk to, because I want to design a program to make sure that you don't lose those things in the event that a bad day happens.
Excellent, Gerard. I would like you to put on your CEO leader's cap.
Absolutely.
As a professional and a business owner. No doubt you have received advice, maybe from your father, but what is the single best advice you've ever received that you can share with our Future Shapers audience?
The best piece of advice I ever received, especially in the service industry, is just do what's right for the client. You know, you got to always put the client's needs before your own. And what that is if I don't believe in a product, if I don't believe in a recommendation, I don't make it. And I make sure that my clients know that, because I would never give them, my clients, something that I wouldn't recommend for myself. I wouldn't recommend for my mom. So I do all my business dealings that way, and I think that's helped me become successful. And I think in a position in what we do, if you don't think those ways, that shouldn't be your agent.
Excellent. Put your customers' interests first.
Absolutely.
Outstanding. Gerard, we in the Future Shapers Nation are big readers.
Absolutely.
Is there a book you might recommend to our Future Shapers?
One of the most impactful books that I've ever read, and I actually finished reading it again last week. It's funny that you asked this, is As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. Probably one of the most profound books that I've read, and I've been...
Classic.
It's a classic. It's a timeless classic. It's a really easy read, but it's so profound in the knowledge that it gives you. So that's
Excellent.
a fantastic book to read.
Speaking of classic, we live in an awesome country. And we believe in the Future Shapers that our nation is at a tipping point and that we as citizens must intentively help shape our nation's future direction. Tell me, Gerard, what is America to you?
America to me, and this is a good question for this podcast, because America is, in the easiest form, it's just opportunity. No matter what you're looking for, you can accomplish it here. You can, and I talk from personal experience, from having clients who've come here, whether from Mexico, from Vietnam, in looking for a better life, and being able to put hard work to back that up and have any life that you want. That's America. There's nothing greater than that.
America, the land of opportunity.
That's it. That's
home of the free.
That's it. You take a look at everything that's happening. Heck, you couldn't go to North Korea and walk down the street with a smile. You can't do that these days. You can't go live other places and have the opportunities that we have. This is a blessing. Can't be taken lightly.
Opportunities and blessings are definitely part of, I would say, even our birthright.
Absolutely.
However, our nation is having some issues right now. We are confronting a long-standing blemish of powerful men degrading women. This is no longer acceptable.
Absolutely.
We understand that Americans must aspire to be our best. That is our future for America. We believe that women must feel safe and respected from the public square to the workplace and beyond. We stand for gender equity. Mm-hmm. Your thoughts?
I definitely agree with that, with those statements. I think in the light of everything that we see going on, whether it be Weinstein, Lauer, all these things that are going on out there, shouldn't be taken lightly, because this is a generational problem. This is how we see people. And I think the bigger part of it comes with how we over-sexualize things, right? When we take a look at Instagram, look at how many people are posting pictures off of their body, right? And look at rap videos and what the younger generations are looking to. All you see is the degradation of the female character. And so if that's what we're throwing out there in society, if that's what the way my kid is going to grow up to perceive women, which he won't, because I will play a hand in that, I think that's what's giving all these problems. You give people power, and then they see less value in people. And especially for a woman to not have the right type of opportunity, or to be taken advantage of because of their looks. I mean, I think that's just wrong, but there's a lot of things that we need to address from a societal standpoint, in the way that we put information out there, in order to address the bigger need. And when we talk about really equality, a lot of our leaders are the people who, we're looking at community leaders, we're looking at religious leaders, we're looking at political leaders, and it really kind of, not only does it start with us on a local level, but the message that they're sending as well.
Messaging is so important. Thank you for, I believe, Gerard, that you have, from your position and your experience, you have a lot to share with our Future Shapers audience. Tell me, what big advice can you share with our listeners today?
The biggest piece of advice that I can share with all you out there, I believe if you're listening to this podcast, you're somebody who is looking to grow mentally, you're looking to grow financially, you're looking to grow in your business, you're just looking to grow. And I think the biggest thing that you can do in order to aid that is read a book every day, read something positive, read something uplifting, read something that's going to feed your mind. I've always been a firm believer in individual and self-development, and that's something that you have to focus on every day. Why is that so important? Because it helps you weather storms, right? And so if I were taking my own advice during the things that I was going through, it probably would have helped me a lot longer. It would have helped me come out of that a lot faster. That's my biggest thing, is just read, educate yourself, and you'll get better every day.
Excellent advice from Gerard, a believer in reading and personal development and focus.
Absolutely.
With the intent of helping to educate and lift up the people that are around them, help them to aspire to be their best and their most protected.
Absolutely, 100%.
Outstanding. As we, Gerard, would you please share with our Future Shapers audience how they can contact you and maybe a benefit that they might receive when they contact you?
Absolutely. So we're here local in Redlands. If you have any questions, really a big thing that I'd like to offer for all the listeners out there, if it's been some time since you haven't had your insurance reviewed, maybe you don't know the coverages, maybe you just need confirmation of what you have, I'd love the opportunity to sit down with you and just educate you on your coverages and tell you what changes I would make within that current program. If you'd like to go ahead and do so, I can be reached. My name is Gearard LeFore. I'm the owner of Farmers Insurance off of 1737 Orange Tree Lane, Suite A here in Redlands. You can reach us here in the office to schedule an appointment, 909-890-1992. We do look forward to talking to you guys.
Thank you, Gerard, and thank you, Future Shapers. Get ready for our next edition of Shaping the Future podcast. It's coming soon.
Thank you for joining this episode of Shaping the Future podcast. We leave you, Future Shapers, with this challenge. Act boldly today to shape your future, because if you don't, it will absolutely be shaped for you.